My young son has been on several international flights. He absolutely loves to fly. In fact, he loves it so much that he's the one who suggested that I make this video for you today. Today I'm going to go over how to survive a long-haul flight with your kids and their grandparents in tow. I've spent nearly 20 years flying to Europe, and I'm going to go over some of the mistakes that I've made so that you don't have to make them on your next trip to Europe. I don't want to waste your time, so before we move on, I want to talk about who this is designed for. This video is specifically designed for parents and grandparents who are planning their first big overseas flight with their kids to Europe. It's also for those parents who have maybe taken a flight before and that flight didn't go so well. So if that sounds like you, then stick around because I think I have some really good information that's going to help you plan that next trip to Europe. The first thing I want to do is define what you'll actually get from spending your valuable time watching this video. My goal is to help you transform flying with your kids from something that you dread to something that you actually look forward to. Having a successful flight isn't a matter of luck. It's a matter of properly preparing for your next big flight. A couple of years ago now, my wife and I took our son on his first flight to Europe. He had just turned 4, and to say the least, we were both very nervous. We were downright worried. Is he going to be able to sleep? Would he cry the whole flight? Would we be able to sleep? As we prepared for that trip, we weren't sure how that was going to turn out. Stick around because in a few moments, I'm going to share one thing that my wife and I did on that first flight that took our son from being a nervous flyer to someone who absolutely loves flying on a plane. I'll talk more about that flight with our son later, but for now, I want to go into the step-by-step strategy that we use for every long-haul flight to Europe. As a parent, a key to making these long-haul flights survivable is changing your expectations. Realize there are going to be meltdowns, there is going to be crying, you're not going to get as much sleep as you wanted to. With the proper mindset, my family has gone from dreading airports and plane rides to actually loving them. It's all part of the experience. It's part of how we get to Europe. It's actually where the vacation begins for us. We love to fly, and I hope that by the end of this video, you can take some of these strategies that I talk about and use them on your next flight to make it much more enjoyable for you and your family. After we get onto the plane and get settled into our seats, one of the first things I like to do is start to think about what I'm grateful for. I'll think in my head about 3 things that I'm grateful for and really looking forward to on this trip. I'll even go a step farther and do this with my wife and my son. By talking about what we're grateful for, that can set us up for such a mentally better flight. It's going to put everybody on the same page and make us really grateful for what we have as a family. In the next few sections of this video, I'm going to talk about what you need to pack for your kids, for yourself, and also specifically for the grandparents. I don't especially love tablets or putting my son in front of videos for hours at a time, but a key thing you're going to want to make sure you pack for your long-haul flight is a tablet. Make sure that on that tablet you've downloaded games, you've downloaded videos, and you've downloaded audiobooks that they can enjoy on that trip. Wi-Fi on planes can be hit and miss sometimes, so make sure you've actually downloaded those items onto the device. With that tablet, you're going to want to make sure to also have a good pair of over-ear headphones. We've got some from JBL that we really like. A key thing that we looked for in kids' headphones is making sure that they have a volume limiter. And then another thing to consider is that a lot of airplanes do have the backs of the seats have in-flight entertainment. So if you've got headphones that are Bluetooth, you'll want to make sure that you buy one of those Bluetooth adapters that you can plug right into the headphone port. So then your kids can use those headphones to watch the in-flight entertainment. Another item that I recently found that I really like is actually this item right here. This is a Yoto player. This is actually an audiobook device, so you can put in these little cards. This is a Paw Patrol one. It's a great way for them to be able to listen to material without having to be on that tablet for the whole flight. A less obvious, but I think really essential thing that you must bring for your kids is water and great snacks. They're going to hand out snacks on the plane, but that's never going to be enough, and it might not be something your kid actually likes to eat. So if a kid is hungry, they're going to be cranky. It's going to lead to a much less enjoyable flight for everybody on board. So we always like to pack things like cut up apples, cheese sticks, granola bars, and then also maybe their favorite drink. My family's actually developed a bit of a pre-flight tradition where my wife and my son go to one of the snack shops in the airport, and they actually buy my son's favorite junk food. And this is something that's really something that my son now really looks forward to with every flight. He loves to go and pick out the good candy with his mom, and then really looks forward to hopping on the plane and being able to enjoy that candy when we first get on the flight. And don't forget about drinks. I think water is the best thing that you can give to your kids, but make sure they're drinking, because when you're flying at 30,000 feet, one of the big things that happens to our body is we get dehydrated quickly. And guess what dehydration does to kids? It makes them cranky, frustrated, and less likely to sleep on that plane. Before the flight, you're really going to want to take some time to make sure that you dress your kids in the proper clothing. I like to dress my kids in layers, so specifically I'll make sure that they're wearing comfortable pants, that they have a t-shirt on, and then a hooded sweatshirt on top of that. This is going to make it so that when it's really hot and the plane's first taxiing and taking off, you can have that t-shirt on, but then it gets colder and the flight goes on, it can get really chilly. So just make sure you're dressing in layers that breathe well, that's going to make it really comfortable for your kids on that plane. Another thing that I find is after you've been on that flight for a while, they've been watching videos for several hours, I always like to have a surprise gift that I can pull out for the kids that they weren't expecting. So on our last trip, we actually bought one of these shape puzzle boxes that's magnetic, and it has all these cards in here that allowed my son to create these cool little shapes and complete the puzzles. It was a fun activity that he didn't expect that really made it so that he was really looking forward to this flight. It's something you could look at like mazes, you could look at coloring books, things like that. Just something that matches your kids' interests and can really help get through that lull in the middle of the flight. So far, I've really only talked about what you should be packing for your kids, but don't forget about yourself. If you're not comfortable, if you don't have what you need on that flight, then you're going to be cranky and a lot less fun to be around, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to handle those inevitable meltdowns. So I always like to make sure that I bring along a tablet or my phone, and I want to make sure that I've downloaded the videos that I want to watch, the podcasts I want to listen to, any music that I want to listen to. I want to make sure that's been downloaded and it's offline, stored on my tablet. I also want to make sure that I bring a good pair of noise canceling headphones. I like AirPods, the in-ear ones. I know a lot of other people prefer the over-ear style ones. I find those to be a little bit too bulky for my packing light philosophy, but you got to use the headphones that work well for you. In addition, I also want to make sure that my headphones can actually connect to the in-flight entertainment. So I use a little small adapter that allows my wireless AirPods to be used with the in-flight entertainment. I also really like to download podcasts onto my phone before the flight. I specifically like to download Rick Steves' podcasts. He's got a lot of great podcasts that talk about the specific cities. And of course, you also may want to pack your favorite book or e-reader. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is just make sure that all these electronic devices that you're bringing with you, make sure that they're properly charged so that when you get on the flight, you're not low on battery. For the parents and grandparents, I also really like to make sure that I pack those blackout eye masks. That can really help for sleeping on the plane. Some people find that they really like to pack in earplugs to block out sound. I actually prefer to wear my AirPods and listen to some type of boring audiobook or meditation when I'm trying to sleep. Other things that I'd be looking at making sure I pack are going to be snacks for myself on the plane. So don't just pack for the kids, and making sure that you're bringing a water bottle so you can stay hydrated on that flight. When you and the grandparents are considering what to wear on the plane, make sure that you're wearing something that's comfortable, that you can be in for the next 8 to 10 hours. I really like to dress in layers and to wear breathable clothing. Specifically, I always wear this Unbound Merino sweatshirt. I really like this shirt. It breathes really well, it provides warmth, and it's easy to get on and off. Make sure you're wearing loose-fitting clothing that you can be in for that whole flight. You may also want to consider wearing compression socks. These are special socks that go up to your knees and they compress your blood vessels. If you've got varicose veins or a history of blood clots, these can be really helpful to try to reduce the likelihood of that occurring when you're sitting for long periods on these overseas flights. Another item I'm always going to make sure that's in my bag is hand sanitizing wipes, and wipes for being able to wipe down the tray tables, the entertainment screen, the armrests, the seat belts, things like that. I think that's a really important thing. One of the first steps we take every time we get on a plane, we pull those out and wipe down everything we're going to touch on this flight. I also like to pack in a toothbrush, toothpaste, and some face wipes. Those can be really helpful for when you're getting to near the end of your flight to be able to go to the bathroom and freshen up a little bit. It's going to help you a lot when you get off the plane to feel more like an actual human. From all the past flights I've taken, I think another key thing to remember is that you're going to need to make sure to get up out of your seat when you're on these flights. I know it can be kind of embarrassing to get up and walk around the plane, but that's going to be so helpful for just getting up, walking down the aisle, finding a place you might be able to bend over and stretch a little bit, maybe down by the bathroom, something like that. That's going to really help the blood flow in your body and help so that you don't have a sore and tired of legs and butt when you're getting off that plane. It can be so easy to feel like you should just stay seated and stay where you are, but the more you can move, the better you're going to feel when you finish this long flight. Up next, I wanted to talk about sleeping on the flight. So with young kids, hopefully you're going to be able to get them to sleep. One thing I always look to do is I try to book a red-eye flight. So I specifically try to look for flights that are leaving really late in the day, my time, and then hopefully those flights are going to be landing a little bit later in the afternoon, European time. What that does for you is when you're getting on the flight, say it's like 9 o'clock your time, then hopefully you'll have a chance that your kids are going to watch some videos and actually try to fall asleep on that plane ride. One thing that we found that has helped our son fall asleep is after we've eaten our dinner, after we've had some tablet time, we try to really talk to our son about it now being time to sleep. And specifically, we'll put on an audiobook, a sleepy time audiobook, or maybe read him a story. Then we make him a cozy little nest out of some sweatshirts, maybe a blanket, and really try to encourage him to lay down on our lap. My son isn't naturally a big sleeper. He wasn't ever one of those kids that napped a lot or goes to sleep easily. So on his first international flight, we weren't really sure how that was going to go. So we made sure to take turns as parents, being with him, being there with him, taking turns so one parent could sleep a little bit, the other was hanging out watching our son. About 4 hours into my son's first flight, I looked down and he had finally fallen asleep in my lap. The cabin was dark, everything was quiet, and I turned and looked over to my wife, and we both just smiled as we realized that we were taking our son for his first trip to Europe. It was a truly magical experience, and we were so happy we'd done this preparation work beforehand to help encourage him to be able to sleep on this flight. I also wanted to talk about a few tips for the parents and grandparents as you're looking to try to get some sleep on the plane. Some tricks that some people have found is trying to brush your teeth before you go to sleep, putting on a sleepy time meditation, maybe putting on a podcast. And don't forget to put on that blackout mask over your eyes to block out all the light. Put in noise-canceling headphones or those earplugs, because any sleep you can get is really going to help you to have less jet lag as you land in Europe. So I've really gone over a lot of the practical tips for the flight itself. Another thing I always like to talk about is the flights that you're actually booking to Europe. If you can, I find with kids and grandparents, it's going to be so much easier to book a direct flight when you're flying to Europe. Flying for 8 hours instead of 10 or 12 hours is going to just be so much easier without a connection. In my experience, when you're flying with kids and grandparents, I think it can also be really worthwhile to pay to upgrade your seats to more like that Comfort Plus seats that have slightly more leg room. That I found to be really helpful to actually be able to get a little bit of sleep on those flights. I also have found that applying for programs like Global Entry or TSA PreCheck can be really helpful as you're traveling through security to get to your gate a little bit quicker before you leave the United States. Well, that's it for today. I hope you found this video to be really useful as you plan your next trip to Europe. If you would be so kind, I'd love it if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel for more tips on how to travel to Europe with your family. But that's it for today. We'll see you next time, and don't forget to be kind and love everybody.